Welcome, everyone. My name is Natalie Richardson. I am one of the health coaches at Healthier Texas. Today, we are talking about mapping your health journey and setting smart goals. Our organization is a nonprofit, excuse me, a nonprofit organization, and we are funded by SNAP Education. And we can change to the next slide. My name is Natalie Richardson. Again, I'm one of the lead health coaches at Healthier Texas, and I'm here to do our goal presentation today. Next slide. Before we jump into our presentation today, I want to share about a really cool thing. You might already be aware of it. We are launching our community challenge pretty soon, next week. I hope everybody's already familiar with this. It is a really cool event and resource if you are trying to get those New Year's resolution goals done. I always like to tell my clients a little competition can keep you motivated for longer than just 3 weeks, right? Because when we set up a goal, we're usually good for 3 weeks. And then by the fourth week, we're like, oh, out of steam. Community challenge is cool because you get to compete with others, other communities, other ISDs, other towns, other cities, and log in your points, and that kind of keeps you motivated for 3 months on. Um, to be able to register, just look up here at the bottom of the screen, texascommunitychallenge.org. So that's TX for Texas, communitychallenge.org. If you have signed up for this challenge, please fill out our poll and let's see the percentage of people that have signed up for that. What you can expect from Community Challenge is you'll download the Community Challenge app, and every day you get to log in the healthy things that you're doing. So, say I drank water, I drank this amount of water today. You get to put that in, and it'll give you points. And you can say, oh, I walked this amount, or you can connect your Fitbit to your app. So there's a lot of different things that you can report to the app, and it will give you points. And when you are signing in, you can decide where those points are going to go to. Is it going to go to your school ISD? Is it going to go to your community, your town, your city? And then depending on where those points are going, you get to see who's number one in all of Texas for like school ISDs with their points. So it's really fun. It keeps people motivated. It keeps the ball rolling. And I'd encourage everybody to participate because if you have trouble sticking to your goals and keeping you motivated, this is one really fun way to do it. It's a free event. It starts next week, next Monday, January 13th to March 9th. You can register now and just get prepared and ready to go for Monday. Okay, so the objectives for this webinar are to understand what SMART goals are, then create your own SMART goals, and then identify steps to achieve these goals. Okay. Um, if you could quickly share in the chat, what is one resolution you've set in the past or are thinking about for this year? You might have already kind of started it. All right, these are wonderful. So overall, I'm hearing a lot more physical activity, some healthier eating, some more water, sleeping better, social media cleanse. These are great goals. And these are all goals that my clients have worked on and myself too. Thanks for sharing. So, interesting quick facts here. 62% of people feel pressured to make a resolution at the new year. 66.5 percent of people make three or more goals. And then 90% of people of resolutions are abandoned within 3 months. So hint, hint, community challenge can help with keeping that up a little bit, keeping those goals from becoming abandoned. Now, some of the common obstacles is one, when we think about these goals, like more exercise. Well, what does that mean? It's not clear enough. Does exercise just mean like walking the dog 10 minutes, or are we like thinking like I want to be able to do a marathon? Getting really specific and clear can help us. Unrealistic expectations. We love to put so many things on our plate. Um, too broad or too general, or not enough support. Now, not enough support. That is something I can talk to you about later on regarding free health coaching, because that is all about support and accountability. But let's look at our reflection question now. What makes it hard for you to keep a health goal? Okay, let's see. What are the results? Okay, I hope everybody can see this. So 13% say that we lose steam. Yes, get unmotivated. Life happens, we get thrown off track. That looks like it's the biggest one, like 53%. Yeah, we've got perfect goals, we're doing them, and then by the third week, usually it's by the third week, something happens. Life throws us lemons and everything, and we get completely thrown off track. 17% say unrealistic expectations. And then 17 also say no accountability buddy. That's interesting. All right. Thanks for sharing. So, when we are thinking about our New Year's resolution or any goal in general, any goal in life, it doesn't have to be just a health goal. You want to know, what is the main motivator? Like, what is your why behind it? I mean, it's important to be healthy, but what makes it personally important for you? What is your why? So, for example, say that you want to do more physical activity. Let's dig deeper. Like, why? It's like, okay, well, it's important because it's healthy. Why else? Usually, when I speak to clients and we dig down deep into the motivators, it's about maintaining your quality of life because you want to age gracefully. You don't want to have to depend on anybody, or you want to stay independent as long as possible. You don't want to be in pain. You want to be able to enjoy life and go places without being in pain, or you want to be mobile enough. And so these are like around quality of life. So that's usually a big one. Another big one is to be there for your kids or your grandkids. Just be able to be a participating family member and give, your joy of life and share it with the rest of the family members without them having to take care of you and take you to appointments and like make sure that your medication is correct. You want to be able to be there for them, to take care of them too. So I think usually when we dig deep into the why and what's motivating us, it's usually those two things. It's because you want to be an active member of your family, of your pod, your community, and you want to preserve your quality of life. Exactly. Okay. So, why is it important to know these things and to really be attached to these things, or to think of them? Because when you fall off track, you want to remember the deep motivators of why you are doing this in the first place. Whenever you feel discouraged or you feel that just things are losing steam, remember that why, and why is it important? And keep on asking yourself why. Write it down. Maybe put it on your vision board, those whys, and that will bring you right back on track, at least here. And then you just start one step at a time. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so when we start with our goals, we want to make sure that they're small, small goals to just get the ball rolling. Okay. We know that the staircase leads somewhere up there. We might not be able to see it, but it's important to take the first steps. Okay. And then we'll just keep on going. Um, Usually keeping your goals small will keep you engaged. They're doable. So you'll be able to manage to get them done. They will build your confidence. You'll be able to see, like, huh, I did that. I was able to do that, so build your confidence. And that will, like I said, lead your ball rolling and get bigger successes that way. So let's think of a goal that you'd like to achieve this year. Don't share it yet. We're going to go through the SMART goals, but think of a goal that you want to achieve this year, and let's make it SMART. Okay. Um, Here on the slide, we've got the example of improve physical fitness. So let's go through the next slides and figure out how we're going to make this a SMART goal. Next slide, please. All right. So, SMART goals. You probably have seen this, but it's a good reminder anyways. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time bound. We've probably seen these reminders a whole lot in a lot of different places. Um, but take the time to do it for yourself when you are making that goal. Take the time to make sure that it's a SMART goal. It probably takes a little bit longer to think of, but it really does help. And it will help you keep track of your progress, especially. Okay, next slide, please. Uh-oh. Fast forward. There we go. Okay, specific. There we go. So the whole reason why we go through SMART goals is because we want it to be a specific goal. And there are different components of making it specific. So the next one, which is the letter M, so you can go to the next slide. There we go. So measurable is one way to make your goal very specific. You want to keep track of your progress. The reason why you want to keep track of your progress is because you want to cheer yourself on. You want to congratulate yourself. You want to say, pat yourself on the back, say, hey, you're doing a great job. So you can keep yourself motivated and going forward. So make it measurable. Make sure that you can keep track of it. Otherwise, how do you know that you're doing a good job or not? So if physical activity was the broad idea, and I want something more specific, say like, there's this marathon that's happening February 21st in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I think it's on the 21st. Anyways, we're going to need to be very specific about how we want to approach this. So measurable, if I'm just thinking, next week, what can I do to be able to make this goal happen? Um, I'll probably have to break down my workout to something very specific, something measurable. So I probably have to say I need to be running 5 miles every other day. So 5 miles makes it measurable. I can't just say running for a long time. Say 5 miles. And I probably need to say a specific time that I'm going to be running those 5 miles. So like 5 miles within an hour and a half. Um, I'll make it an easier goal, actually. Who runs marathons anyways? Let's say that be able to, we want to be able to walk 10,000 steps on a daily basis without losing our lungs over it, without having to gasp for air. So if we're going to break that down and make it into something smaller, what would that be? If the component that we're looking at is measurable, we want to say, for example, walk, let's say 2,000 steps every day for the next week in the morning. So that way, 2,000 steps is the measurable component of that SMART goal. All right, let's get out of the weeds with measurable. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, achievable. We want to make sure that we're like being kind of realistic and that our goal is not like from zero to a marathon, right? So kind of assess where you're at and make sure that what you are aiming for and doing is something achievable. So um, what helps me think of something achievable was it was really thinking about the immediate next week. Like this goal that I have, thinking realistically with the time that I have next week, can I do this? Is it something that I can realistically do? Um, Make sure it's achievable because no matter how much you want to get there, um, if you put too much on your plate and put too much of a high expectation on yourself, you're just going to feel so guilty when things don't go right. And that's going to throw you off track, even worse. Set small goals. The main goal in sight. Yes, Celeste, you put that really well in the chat. Thank you. So you're looking at a great big goal, but you have to really bring it down to small goals. And so making it achievable, making sure you're thinking about realistically what you can do next week is going to force you to think of it as a small, achievable goal. Keep in mind measurable for next week too. Okay, next step or next slide on this. Relevant. Okay, this one's an important one too because you want your small, teeny goals to be feeding into your large goal, right? So if I said 10 or 2,000 steps a day with the goal of being able to walk 10,000 steps a day easily, um, yeah, you want to make sure it's relevant. You're not going to do like a goal around sleeping and getting up at a certain time, um, because that's not going to exercise your legs for that goal. So make sure that whatever your small goal is going to be meaningful for your large one. Next slide, please. Time bound. This one's super important because it's another way to measure things and it gives you a deadline. The deadline is the key. So, what I like to do with my clients is always work on 1 week at a time. What can you do next week? What is that one goal that you feel you can do? Is it going to be 3 times a week? Is it going to be times a week? Where the time bound is within that week. It keeps it simple. It keeps it, um, yeah, precise, and it keeps it small. Something manageable. So, time bound. Now you can do it larger, um, a month, but I think it's easier to just do 1 week at a time. So, with time bound in your SMART goal, think about that week. What can you do within that week that is measurable, it's relevant to your big goal, and it's specific, and yeah, by the end of that week, tally all the things that you've done and measure or grade how well you've done on that goal. So you can keep tally on yourself. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so let's make a SMART goal together. Um, Hopefully, I didn't go too deep into the weeds with my SMART goal explanation. But I want you to try. I want you to choose a real goal that you personally are thinking about. And let's see if you can make it into a SMART goal in the chat. So go ahead, type those up. Think of a real goal for next week. Next week, what is one goal, SMART goal that you want to do next week? And put it there in the chat. Let's see. Made you all really think. Okay, there we go. Lose 1 pound in a week. Amelia, you might need to think what specifically you need to do to make that happen. Sleep 6 hours and exercise 3 days a week. Okay, I like that. That sounds 10,000 steps daily. Okay, for the next 7 days, Amanda. Make the plan. All right. Evelia, you probably need to make the SMART goal plan. Okay, Taylor says 30 minutes of cardio and 30 minutes of weights. Taylor, how many days a week do you plan on doing that? Or is that every day? You want to be specific with that. Okay, Ricardo says starting Monday, I will log 5 healthy actions per day in the community challenge app. Nice way to plug that in, Ricardo. Oh my gosh, I have so many. Okay, I wish I could go through all of them, but these sound great. And hopefully, me calling out some of the things that are missing will help you think like, okay, how to make it more specific or more time bound. Um, it sounds like an easy thing to do, but sometimes it's a little bit like when we think next week specific things, sometimes it's a little bit harder, and it's just like an extra step or two for us. But again, going back, like the whole reason why you want to do a SMART goal is because it helps, one, helps you keep a track of what you're doing and helps you make sure that the goal is something small so you can get the ball rolling. And then once you get that, say that you do the same SMART goal for 3 weeks. 3 weeks, a magic number, that turns into habit. So guess what? After those 3 weeks, after you've done it really well, you get to add another SMART goal until that one becomes a habit. And then one habit at a time, you're building your sustainable lifestyle change right there. Of course, you have to think about falling off track, but that's a different conversation. And that is part of the process, and it is totally what us health coaches are here for. Okay, so thanks for sharing your SMART goals. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, how can you plan for challenges? So if you are planning on a SMART goal and it's weather dependent, like it's depending on something that is without of your control, it is good to have a plan B, a SMART goal plan B in case plan A doesn't work. So that's like a little trick there. If your SMART goal is dependent on something that is out of your control, have a second, like a SMART goal plan B. Okay, so failure. Failure is such a horrible word. It's not failure at all. Um, Always, when we are trying to create habits, there's going to be life throwing us some oddball and throwing us off track. That's just how life is. If it wasn't that way, we would be machines and this life wouldn't be life. We wouldn't be humans. So please plan for falling off track and getting yourself back on track. With my clients, I think the whole journey of health coaching together is for them to be able to learn how to confidently pull themselves back on track and keep on going. Once my clients know how to do that, once they know how normal it is to fall off track and not feel guilty about it, but just get right back on track and keep on going. Um, Once my client is able to do that on their own, they are ready to graduate. And that's one of the biggest things. It's really hard for us to not feel guilty, to not, really shame ourselves for falling off track. And I don't know why we do it, but we do it because it's a human thing. But when you learn to be compassionate with yourself and to just know it's like, this is how human life is. We're not robots. Nothing's going to go perfect. We're not going to stay on track and like be amazing, perfect all the time. Um, yeah, once you get that compassion, it's so much easier to just go back on track and keep on going and be more consistent because that's what change, when it comes to change and seeing results, it's how consistent you can be. It's not about how hard you can punish yourself for not being consistent. It's not about how how controlled you are and how perfect you can make everything come out. No, it's about how consistent you can be. And the easiest way to be consistent is to just get yourself right back on track when you fall off of it. It's, that's easy, easy like that. Okay. So next slide, please. Let's go into staying motivated. So like we mentioned earlier, remembering your why, like why is this important? What is moving me? What is motivating to make this change? It's your quality of life. Is it your kids, your family, the people around you? Have that written down on a vision board that will help ground you when you feel terrible because you're off track. Or if you're just losing steam in your motivation, read that vision board, read those whys, so you can get reignited. Don't set too many goals at once. We've talked about this. Is it attainable in the SMART goal? Make sure that your goal for next week is attainable and you're not trying to juggle 3 or 4 or 5 goals at once. Instead, make one goal a habit or one SMART goal at a time, and then each goal, work on them one at a time, make them a habit, and then add another one. And that will get the ball rolling, yeah, easier. Oh, celebrate your small wins. That is why we do the SMART goals, because that way we can keep track of our progress and then you can celebrate. It could be a little teeny dessert once a week if you get it done. Celebrate yourself however way you want. Or have a health coach remind you and celebrate you too. It's so much more fun when you have somebody celebrating you. We'll talk about health coaching in a little bit. Um, be open to adjusting, especially with your first SMART goals. When you start your first SMART goal, you don't well, you might know, but you might not know where you're starting from. So especially with your first new goal, think of it as just like, oh, this is a pilot goal. We're going to try it out and see what I need to adjust for next week. Because that way you have a point of reference, right? So be very open to adjusting your goals. Try them out, test it out, and then adjust. And then find a buddy for support. It can be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be a health coach, it could be the community challenge. People are getting um, kind of competitive with each other and keeping each other accountable that way. Find some sort of support system. It always helps. It's much easier, and life is much easier, right? To do this with a support system, with a buddy. All right, let's go to the next slide. One last reminder. Failure or setbacks does not mean failure. So remember, it's just part of the journey. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Now, even just being on this webinar, pat yourself on the back. You're giving yourself time to think about this stuff. When do you have time to think about this stuff? Um, and keep on going. Just pull yourself back on track and keep on going. Okay, that was the last reminder. Now let's go on to the next slide. So, Healthier Texas has a bunch of cool things going on. So it's got the community challenge, which I presented earlier. It also has free health coaching and also has free virtual classes. But let me tell you about health coaching because that is what we work on with goals, New Year's resolutions, etc. That is our expertise. So that is me on that side. That's Natalie, me, Isabel, and Elena. We are three health coaches, free health coaching, bilingual. Hablamos español perfectamente. Nos encanta. We can do Spanglish if you want to practice your Spanglish. Um, Free and unlimited health coaching for the moment for 2025. Take advantage of this. Um, it is so much easier to do your health journey when you have somebody to brainstorm with and just talk out loud. The sessions are, it can be weekly or every 2 weeks, depends on your preference and your availability. But it really helps to know that you're going to be reporting back to somebody who's keeping you accountable of your own personal goals that you set up for yourself. We're not going to tell you what to do. We can give you like tips if you ask them, or guidance if you ask for that. But the way that we health coach is you are the expert of your own lifestyle. You know what you want to get, and we are there to support you, keep you accountable, and just keep you going, keep you going. We are trained community health workers. We can guide you on nutritional education and physical activity. We can find fun recipes to share. But in the end, you are making your own goals. We are your support buddy, your support system. So take advantage of it. I think the easiest way to sign up is with this number at the bottom, the 844-262-6224. It's text message friendly. And I think text messaging is actually the easiest way. Just write, sign me up, and then one of us will get back to you and set up a date and time for us to go over the registration and then to get your first call. Oh, that is something I forgot to mention. These are phone calls or virtual sessions, so they can be via Zoom or phone call. We do not meet in person. I wish we could clone ourselves 50 times. That would be amazing. But these are virtual Zoom calls or telephone calls, depends on your preference. And so, yeah, you can meet us in your living room or on your drive somewhere. That's totally fine. All right. Next slide, please. All right. Thank you so much for attending.